Right. Okay, it's 2 minutes after 4, so I think we should make a start. We have an amazing attendance, actually. 31 people are already here, out of about 80 that have, indicated that they're interested. So that's really a good turnout. I do have a favor to ask everybody, which is to we have just a couple of questions that I would like to ask you. So let me first see if I can share my screen again. So I assume everybody sees my screen. What I would like you to do, let me make this a bit smaller so I can still see the chat window. If you have your phone with you, or if you want to open a browser window right next to you, that's absolutely fine. If you could go to menti.com, www.menti.com. If you've used it before, it's really nice. You can ask questions and have surveys. It's completely anonymous. I don't know who's answering, so don't worry about that. And enter this code 91684600 or scan the QR code. And there will be a couple of questions here that I'd like to ask you and see where you are. So let's get started. So first of all, see how you are feeling today. You have 2 hours ahead of you now to work on TopologicWorkshop. Excellent, excellent. Everybody is polite, not saying already bored. That's good. Let's see how you are in an hour from now. Great. For those of you who are apprehensive, please don't be. I will try my best to explain TopologicWorkshop in as easy terms as possible. Yeah, I mean, when I say non-manifold topology, everybody like, ooh, what is that? But it's really nothing. It's not that difficult. Fantastic. So next question. How do we do this? How familiar are you with TopologicWorkshop? For the person who answered what is TopologicWorkshop, welcome. Welcome to the club. Okay, and I think I know who the expert is. I'm not answering this, by the way, so, but good. All right, fantastic. Great. And so it seems that most people have heard a lot about it, maybe just starting with it, or they tried a few things or saw a couple of videos, which is what I was expecting. So how about Blender and SphereChalk? I don't know how this works actually, this slide, this type of thing. So I hope it works for you. I've never tried it before. So it's just Blender 3D modeling in Blender and actual doing visual programming in SphereChalk. How familiar are you with it? All right. Oh, okay. Right, 31. Okay, so basically, people are more on the novice side, very much like me. I want to caveat today by saying I know very little about Blender, believe it or not. It's a new environment for me. I'm very familiar, very comfortable with 3D Studio Max, Rhino, Grasshopper, Dynamo, that type of stuff. Blender is a new one. I tried it many years ago and found it way too complex. I think it has improved quite a bit. And but when I am in Blender, I'm spending most of my time in SphereChalk and TopologicWorkshop. So I don't do a lot of modeling. I'm working on the nodes and making sure they work. So if you find that I am making mistakes with modeling in Blender, please do excuse that, or roll your eyes in private. That's okay. But yeah, everybody will have a learning curve to climb. But I would like to know, what OS are you using? Are you going to use for Blender? Which one are you going to be using? There's probably not a surprise here. Yeah, thank you. Cheers. So mostly you are on Windows, like I am on Windows. You know, that's the nature of what we have right now, is that a lot of people are on Windows. Great, thank you. I will. I know I see there's some chat that I haven't read yet. I'll get to that in a second. So we do have 34 people already, at least. Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, it doesn't run on iPhone or Android. I'm just wondering whether somebody is just connecting on their iPhone now and not going to actually do the tutorial. Great, thank you. All right, so here's my best estimate, because I have not actually done this tutorial. So I actually do not so I do not know how long it will take. My best estimate is that we can get done in maybe an hour and a half for it. So we'll do the first half of the workflow. If I get tired, I see that perhaps it's too heavy, we'll stop at a certain point. I'm estimating about 10 to 5. We'll take a 5 to 10 minute comfort break. I'll stay. I might step out and come back. We'll have a chat if we need to catch up. Sorry about this is a chat catch up thing. Mistake there. And then at 5, we'll start with the second half of the workflow. Hopefully we'll end by 17:45, by 5:45. Open it up for final Q&As, and then end. If it takes longer, obviously, please feel free to leave at any point. If it gets too tiring, I will continue it until the end. Even if there's nobody in the room, I will continue it because I'm recording it. And you can go back to the video later on and see what happened after you have left. Obviously, I would love for everybody to be able to stay and we get this to be a successful workshop. So let's get started. As I said, these are the startup files. Ahmed, I think you asked whether there are the other startup files. This is the URL if you would like to type it, or if you would like to download a zip folder, it has the startup file. There is a Blender startup, but you don't have to start with that if you don't want to. I thought maybe if people don't want to model or something, they have something to start with. That's absolutely fine. But I will start completely from scratch. Okay, so this is the final workflow. That's what we are going to build today. So it's not trivial. It's not too bad, but yeah, it has several pieces through it. But I think what is most important is to explain this drawing or this model on the right, or on the left, excuse me, to show you what it does. So basically, what I have done here is designed a really bad house, and then created these objects that I can put in them that tell Topologic what kind of space it is. So this is a dining room, this is an entrance, this is a living room, etc. And then behind the scenes, I have created an Excel spreadsheet where I put the pair of rooms that I'm interested in. So you don't have to put the whole matrix of every room with every other room. Like, you just put the ones that need to be either near each other or far away from each other. So this is a different type of an adjacency matrix, where you say, I have an entrance and I have a living room, and I really need them to be very close. Now, these numbers can be anything really, but the lower the number, that means the closer you want them to be. And I'll explain how I deal with the kind of a varying range at the end of the workflow. But usually you do like 1, 2, 3. 1 is very close, 2 is medium close, 3 is you want it to be far. And workshop files, perfect. Okay, sorry, I just wanted to check that there's nothing. Yeah, that's fine, perfect. So what you do is you put the pairs that you are interested in, and as I said, not the whole program. So these are the things I thought about, is that the entrance should be close to the living room, it should be close to the kitchen, it should be close to the dining room, but not necessarily the bedrooms. If they happen to be close, that's absolutely fine. The dining room and the kitchen should also be close. Bedroom 1 and bathroom 1 should also be close. So these are like medium close, by the way, here, 2 and 2. Bedroom 2 and bathroom 2 should be very close, but then the kitchen and the bedrooms, excuse me, need to be far because of smells or whatever, noise, whatever it is. I decided, okay, these need to be 3. Okay, so at the very end of this process, I get these strange colored lines, and these lines are basically the path from one room to the other through the doors in the house, but they are color coded to tell you whether they satisfy the adjacency diagram correctly, the adjacency matrix, or not. So if we take a look at it a little bit, you'll notice that I said in the Excel file that the dining room need to be next to the kitchen, right? Because you cook the food, you serve the food. And you'll notice that the kitchen is here and the dining room is here. So that path is labeled red. That means it's not optimized, or it's not, it's not very good. The cooler colors are, they satisfy the adjacency diagram, and then the red colors, the warmer colors, do not, or are worse. So this is the entrance, and you'll notice that what it did is that it drew the lines exactly from in the rooms that I specified in my Excel spreadsheet. So basically, not everything is drawn. You'll notice that there is a line between the entrance and the living room, this blue line here, and that is okay, because they're right close to each other. And then from the entrance to the kitchen is green. Blue is better than green, by the way. Blue is a cooler color. And then you'll notice that, here is bedroom 1, and here is bathroom 1. Here is bathroom 2 and bedroom 2. And they have, decent connectivity. But what if I change things? What happens? So let's go ahead and change things a little bit. So I'm going to take this dining room, and I'm going to place it over here. I'm going to take this home office, which you'll notice I did not even deal with the home office. It's just, not considered. So I have now changed the location of the dining room and the home office. And all I need to do is to go ahead and re-update my definition. And you'll notice it has re-updated. First of all, it has updated the graph, the connectivity, and it updated the colors. So now you'll notice that the worst case scenario is between perhaps, what is it, the kitchen and the bedroom. That doesn't mean that it's a bad connection, but among all the kind of adjacencies, that's the one that is least compatible with your Excel file. But it at least points it out to you, and you can take a look at it. Now, we could have made the score, what determines the color, an absolute value, but I did not do that. I basically looked at the range that is in the Excel spreadsheet and normalized that range, and then looked at all the travel distances that I am getting and normalized those, and then mapped the two ranges to each other and decided on a score based on the absolute value of the difference. I'll cover that a bit later. But the idea here is that this gives you a kind of an interactive system where you can say, okay, let me improve things. I mean, obviously, I am now only changing room assignments, but I could change the design. I could take these planes and move them around and change the design completely, and then run the definition and see what I get. So you can play this kind of what if scenarios. So, all right. So that's the idea here. The other thing is you'll notice there are these planes, just to talk about how Topologic kind of works, how you build models in Topologic. So you start in Blender, you model simple objects in Blender. In this case, I'm modeling just simply a prism, like this bluish prism that you see here, this overall prism. And then I have modeled some planes that go through completely, like they're higher and lower than the prism, and they cut right through. So please, when you model, try to do that. And then I modeled some cubes. You'll notice they are right here. These are like little cubes that are perpendicular to these surfaces. These are the doors. So these are just simple cubes that I put, not very accurately, but I want them to be lower than the ceiling, please, a little bit lower and a little bit off the floor. Just don't get yourself into modeling errors with that. So those we will intersect with the cutting planes, and they will become apertures. And I'll show you how to add apertures or doors to the model. Yeah, we're not doing Windows. We're not doing anything more sophisticated than that. So that is where we are with this one. Now, let me give you a bit of a tour of the whole definition and show you just in general what it would look like. And then we will obviously build it step by step. Now, the startup that I gave you has these green ones that you see here. And those are the green nodes are the ones that are bringing objects from the scene into SphereChop, and then from SphereChop into TopologicWorkshop. So these are the green ones. And then anything that is red, like these things, these red ones, these are called temporal viewers. They are drawing things back from TopologicWorkshop back onto the scene in Blender. So let's get started here. Let me just show you what the labels are. So the first one, you don't need to know the details. We'll go into the details a little on, but just in general, what is the concept? So I'm getting the building envelope, which is this blue cell here. I'm getting the cluster of faces, all these cutting planes that I have. And then what am I doing with them? I'm using them to slice the building. So I slice the building. This is where we create what is called a cell complex in TopologicWorkshop. This is a grouping of cells that are interconnected. So we've sliced it and we got a cell complex. Then I get the door objects. These are these cubes that are perpendicular to the faces. And I intersect them with the faces of the cell complex. So now the cell complex has interior walls, right? Because it has been sliced. So I just intersect them with all the faces. Obviously, it will not intersect with the ceiling. It will not intersect with the floor. It will intersect with the interior surfaces or walls. And I get, from those, I get faces that represent, these are the purple faces that you see here. They are the doors. And I draw them. So when I hide them here, for example, this little eye can hide them for you, see, they go away. And they don't see them again, unfortunately. This is just a rendering thing. Let me see if I can bring them back. Yeah, like that. It's just the order of rendering in Blender. Sometimes it hides it. Great. So now, how do I do these room assignments? You know, home, office, entrance, etc. These are basically objects. These are Blender objects that have a custom attribute. So this is the you click here on this orange thing here. You click on custom attributes here, and we are creating something called home office. I'm looking at the lower right corner of the screen. You see, I can add a new one. I can edit it. I called it name, and I gave it home office. And I want you to be very accurate in the spelling, because it has to be spelled exactly like in the Excel spreadsheet. So how do these things work? I get the location of the object, the XYZ of the object. I get the name of the object. I create a dictionary. So I get this custom property here, and I create a dictionary, and I set it to the object, to the actual TopologicWorkshop object. And then I add all these dictionaries or all these things to the cell complex. Okay. Now, this add dictionaries to cell complex takes locations, these are called selectors, and takes the cell complex. And because these locators, these little cubes, have a dictionary in them, that gets transferred to the cells, because they're hovering inside the cell. So it intelligently knows, oh, I have a home office cube inside this big cell, so this big cell becomes a home office. And then I draw that. So now we have a cell complex here that now has all the dictionaries in it. It knows all these cells, what they are. I create a graph from it. So a graph, or a dual graph, is what you see here as a thin yellow line inside the room. I'm sorry if it's not very clear, but it has like these wide vertices. This graph obviously connects the rooms that have doors between them. So you see the bathroom goes to the door goes to the bedroom goes to this door, goes out to the hallway, goes to this door, goes to bathroom 2, through this door to bedroom 2. You know, I told you it's badly designed, so yes. But basically, this is the dual graph. So that's what you get here. And then from this dual graph, then we are going to figure out which rooms we are interested in. And this is what you see all of this here. There's a little bit of a Python script here that I wrote. There might be a way to do it in SVRCHOP. I found it much faster to write a quick Python script. So I'll show you how to do that. I get the things that I'm interested in. So, you know, entrance with living room, entrance with kitchen, entrance with dining room, etc. So these are paired. I find those vertices in the graph. So what is going on behind the scenes is that the dual graph vertices inherit the dictionary of the cell that they represent. So like if this is a dining room cell, this vertex here has the tag or has this dictionary that says dining room. So I can search on that. And then I find the shortest path from these pairs. So I take all these pairs of vertices. So I have 8 and 8. So obviously, if you look at your Excel spreadsheet, it's 8 spaces, eight pairs. And then I look at the length of them. So I get the length of the wire. You know, these are these yellow lines and red lines, etc., the colored lines. And I color code them based on a color of a value mapped into a certain color. So you'll notice at the very end here that the color of the line is coming from a certain value. So these are RGB, red, green, and blue. And those are colored based on these numbers, the score that I am getting, which is a normalized score. And that's really it. You color code them and you display them. The only thing I do is a little bit of graphics to translate them up in the Z a little bit so that they are not all on top of each other. So that's what you see here. They're kind of like separated in height so that you can, or in Z, so that you can see them a little bit nicer. All right, so let's get started. So we're gonna do a completely new file. And first thing is it's a bit of an internal joke. First thing you do is you delete this default cube. Let me see if I can get rid of this a little bit. I don't know where to put it. I have to move it around. But basically, go ahead and click on scripting here, and make sure that this is SVRCHOP nodes right here, and start a new SVRCHOP node. Call it whatever you want, or keep it node tree as you wish. Now, just get comfortable a little bit with the interface. You can move these things around. Once the cursor changes, you can hide them. We will need these panels here sometimes. This is for updating. So if this is completely hidden, there's a little triangle here that can open it all up. So just get familiar with that. Get familiar with how you move this around. There's this gizmo here. There is this zooming in, pan. Keep the mouse on it and move it like this. Keep the mouse on it and then move with the mouse down, etc. You don't need cameras. You can delete this if you don't want. You don't need lights. If you're not going to render, you can delete that just to replace it. Also, open up this little triangle on the left. This is your move to move objects, to actually move objects around. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because that's what we're going to start with. Right. Let me, before I get started, quick check here. The default cube had to go, absolutely had to go. Even though we could have used it for the building. All right. So actually, we're not going to start. Step one actually is in Excel. So we're going to go ahead and start in Excel, and go ahead and type these things in. So start a new Excel spreadsheet, and go ahead and type whatever you want. You don't have to be exactly those. They can be completely anything you want. And don't worry about, just make sure that you are very aware of the spelling. And also, every space, please give it a unique name. Like, don't say bedroom, and you're assuming it's going to be bedroom 1 and bedroom 2. Bedroom 1 in this setup that we have done is different than bedroom 2. It will confuse it if they have this exactly same name. But like, for example, living room, I made it like with uppercase R, bedroom I didn't, or bathroom I didn't. So yeah, just be aware of this kind of spelling. And then, you know, come up with numbers. You might want to keep them like 1 to 3. 1 is close, 2 is medium adjacency, and 3 is, you know, far adjacency. I'll pause for a little bit to get you started on that. And I'll check the chat. How we open the script file. Which script file? The actual Python script, you mean? Or are you talking about the Blender file? The SVRCHOP. Oh, the SVRCHOP is a, so if you want, if you're starting from scratch, basically you click on, you start Blender, you click on scripting if you don't have it, you know, if you don't have this kind of layout like I do, you click on this one that says scripting, you change the view here, it might come up with a text editor, like it might come up like this. So you just change it to SVRCHOP nodes. I assume everybody has installed all of these things, obviously. And then you click new, here there's going to be new, and then you get a new thing. And you should find that Topologic is right here. So you have Topologic at the bottom of the list. Is that okay, Julia? Okay, fantastic. So, right. So hopefully everybody has this Excel. I also, I think, gave it to you. You have a CSV if you want to use the basic one. All right, so that's step 1. So let's move on to step 2, which is basic modeling. So basically now we're gonna go into the 3D object here, and we're gonna model. So we're going to be in object mode. Again, as I said, I do not know Blender, so I'm going to use like the most basic things here. So I'm going to say add. I'm going to click on add. I'm going to add a mesh, and I'm going to add a cube. So we're back to the default cube. Here it is. So for this default cube, then what I'm going to do is change its size. So maybe I'll open it from here. There's like a little triangle here. Here I have some dimensions. So I can type maybe that it is, I don't know, 12 meters by 12 meters by 3 meters. It's centered, you know, it's in the negative, but that's absolutely okay. Okay, so I'm going to close this. I don't care really what size it is. It's fine, whatever it is. So I'm just going to remove that. So we have this something like big like this. All right. So then I'm going to add a plane. So that's my silly way of creating these cutting things. So I'm going to just create a plane. Now it's probably right here. You cannot, you know, see it. It's inside the cube. Let's move it out of the way a little bit so that we can see it. So I click on move. You move it. I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to rotate it. Where is this? Is my move? How do I do this? Control it. Is this like correct? Not 100% sure. I thought I could rotate it 90 degrees. Where is it? Who knows? Here's the rotate. Yeah, sorry, it's 95. So just make sure that it's 90. See, I told you I don't know how to use it. Right. So you rotate, you can, you know, if you click on rotate, you'll get the rotate here. You can actually type numbers, very much like 3ds Max. So we have this face. I could have taken like one face out of this as well and used it. But this is a plane. Okay, so how do I make this plane big? I'm going to go into edit mode.